Yeah, so as we continue with the masterclass, we're getting to lesson 14 and 15. And I think all of us can pause and appreciate ourselves because this is a great milestone. It's a great milestone. If you are with someone who can give you a pat at the back, you on the behalf of the leaders here, please just tell someone to do that on our behalf. We appreciate you. We know it's not easy. Some of you have been joining the sessions while you are driving, while you are in the matatus, while it has been like you have to learn. That is the hunger that is really, that makes the difference when it comes to performance and also when it comes to leadership. So we're glad that we have come this far. And I just want to pause here and invite someone who has been with us again. Is not new to us, Reverend Kahindi. Reverend Kahindi, when he's facilitating this session of mentorship and succession, it's a practical session for him. Probably maybe he might share something with you in terms of where he works and the kind of people that have emerged from that place that speak of the power of mentorship and succession. I think he's one man who doesn't really feel threatened. So he feels empowering people is the best gift that you can give to the people. And sometimes he empowers and they leave the bank to maybe other branches. And he celebrates because that is something that shows the measure of success to us as leaders. I may not say much. I know he will pick up from there and just take us through the lesson as he also share his own personal experience. So the team helped me to appreciate and welcome Reverend Kahindi to take it up. Karibu.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Sante sana. Leaders, can you hear me? Good evening, leaders.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Great. You need to be closer to your mic because from time to time I'll want to know that we are together. As Chairman has introduced me, my name is Reverend Johnston Kahindi. I am a reverend with a ministry called GGC, Gospel Generation Church, yani Kanisa la Kizazi cha Injili. I'm also a branch manager for KCB Kayole, which is at Shujamal, here along Kayole Spine Road, if you've been there. Our chairman is prone to pulling my leg, and there's a danger because when I begin talking about myself, I might forget to go back to my notes and teach. But let me just say, we have been lucky and God has been on our side that the team I've been leading has from time to time grown to take over higher responsibilities. A point in time is a year when I began with a team in January, and by the end of November, 60% of the people had been promoted. One of them to actually my level. So it was a year of thanking God and celebrating. As it is, we are always favored by getting promotions almost every year. And people are beginning to believe you may not be good, you may not be handsome or beautiful, you may not be tall or short, but you still can be promoted when you come to Kayole. And over the years, people are thinking, as chairman does, that it is through the power of mentorship and succession in leadership, which is our lesson 14. So welcome to the power of mentorship and succession in leadership. Okay. Now, I hope you can see my screen. And here it says leaders win by passing the baton. And today when we are doing your introduction, right from the first one, he just said he's passing on the baton. And mentorship and succession is all about passing on the baton. You know, the Africans say in their proverb that if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. So passing on the baton means that there is continuity and life goes on and you are, there's this word that politicians like talking about when you are about to retire from politics. You say you want to leave a legacy. Now, leaving the legacy comes through from passing on the baton. Leadership is not a sprint, it is a marathon rally or relay. The most important part is not the running, but it is the passing on the baton. These are words of the late Miles Monroe. Today, you are sitting in a shed because somebody many years ago planted a tree. So what you do today, there must be that hope that someday you are going to provide leadership in your absence. Okay. Warren Barton gives this example of a tree shed, a trunk and a tree that was planted many years by somebody else. So what counts in life is not the mere fact that you lived, but what difference you made to the lives of people. What significance did you add in the lives of people that you led? These are the words of the late Nelson Mandela. And it is good you begin recording things. One day we shall be reading about you. So mentorship is a core function of leadership. Great achievers are inspired by great leaders. Great leaders are actual great mentors. The highest level of unselfish thinking, that is that of a great leader, comes when you engage in mentorship. So if you're a great leader, now you have that unselfishness in thinking. So you give yourself to other people for their personal development and well-being. You have more on the outward, even as we think of the inward. Our mentorship is all about the personal development of others and not much of you. But to develop others, you must keep developing yourself. So we raise by lifting others. When you can lift others around you and surround you with very many people, you will find now you raise in your leadership. This we were given by Robert Ingersoll. And I want us to go through some relationship paradigms. In life, there are the kind of relationship. One of them is where you win and I lose, or I win and you lose. That means I can only win once, because when you lose, you won't come back. Other paradigm is when you win and I lose. Again, you will only win once. When we both win in that relationship, then that relationship or that partnership is gone. But when we both win, then that relationship remains. So we will win many times for a long time, and that is great. Now, the best relationships are win-win because they last long. And that is great partnership. Unselfish thinkers go into a relationship and make sure the other person wins. And that makes all the difference. Because when you win in a relationship, you know this is the right place to be. So what is mentorship? From the dictionaries, mentorship is the guidance provided by a mentor, an experienced person dating another one. That's from Oxford Dictionary. A relationship between two people where the individual with more experience, knowledge, and connection is able to pass along what they have learned. This one you find from there's a definition of mentorship by the link is down there. Then another description of what mentorship is: it's a professional activity, a trusted relationship, a meaningful commitment. So it's a professional activity, a trusted relationship, a meaningful commitment. I want you to get these definitions well and the specific words that are there, because today we want to go deeper and give meaning and structure to mentorship. I know you've had mentorship, but let's give it more meaning and structure as opposed to unstructured mentorship. So when you say it's a professional activity, all professional things are structured. A trusted relationship, a meaningful commitment, not by the way. but something purposeful. Okay. History gives us the beginning of the mentorship, how it began. And there was this king who was supposed to go on for war, and he had his son, and he went and gave him his friend, best friend, to train him on how to be a man, to be a warrior, to be a king, to be a leader. Now, that man he gave his son to was called mentor. Okay. So after many years, he came back, and the son had grown to be a man who was very experienced, having been under the care of mentor. Now, that's where the word mentor was coined from, to the name of somebody who mentored this son. So qualities of a good mentor. One, a mentor builds trust. He's an active and deep listener. His understanding and encourages and inspires hope. Is reliable and authentic. Very heavy words there that I wish we had more time, we would let them sink. But since you are leaders, I know you can swallow this and digest very fast. So one who builds trust is active and deep listener, is understanding, encourages and inspires hope, is reliable and authentic. Okay. Not somebody who pretends to be this when of what others can see. He inspires and coaches others to navigate a course of self-discovery, development, and releasing their inner potential. He allows them, shows them the way to discover themselves and what good is in them. A mentor is a secure leader who thrives in growing others. If you're not secure, you'll begin thinking, if I grow this person, he will take over my job. But a secure person will mentor more and more. You want to have people who are greater than you. So a mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself. That's a quote from Oprah Winfrey. I think you know her. So the qualities of a good mentor, we see a mentor is someone who sees more talent and ability within you than you yourself see yourself. That's Bob Proctor. So for you to be a mentor, you need to see what's good in others that they themselves might not even be seeing. So the greatest good you can do for another person is not just to share your riches, but to reveal to him his own riches. And that's mentorship. That's a quote by Benjamin Disraeli. And John Quincy Adams says, if your actions inspire others to dream more, to learn more, do more, and become more, then you are a leader. And this speak of our mentor. So a leader takes people where they want to go. People want to go this direction, you take them there. You are a leader. But a great leader takes people to where they may not necessarily want to go, but they ought to go. You know, when you want to take people to higher levels, there will be strain and push. They may not want to go that way, but a great leader will take them there because that's where they ought to go. And this was well put by Rosalind Carter. Now, a mentor empowers a person to see a possible future and believe it can be obtained. So sometimes, yes, you see a possible future, but people don't have that confidence and courage to say this can be obtained. Okay. So the qualities of a mentor, in summary, you as a mentor, you need to build trust. You need to listen, be a good listener, need to encourage, be reliable. And while you are at it, please have fun. You know, have fun in mentorship. It's not like this is too serious an issue or it's a do and die. Just enjoy it. When you make it enjoyable, your mentee will even learn more. Now, why mentor? Professor Wangari Maathai realized and put it this way, it is teamwork. You cannot do it alone. She said she was conscious of the fact that if you do it alone, you run the risk that when you are gone, when you are no longer there, there is nobody else to do it. So it's teamwork. That's why you should mentor. So why you mentor? As Dr. Miles Monroe put it, to secure and preserve the future. The greatest act of leadership is what happens in your absence. A leader, as a leader, if everything you have achieved dies with you, then you are a failure. Success without a successor is failure. So why we mentor to secure and preserve the future. And then we mentor to secure the next generation. The sure way to secure the next generation is to mentor. Mentorship is a gift to the next generation. So why mentor? We mentor to protect and sustain leadership achievement and impact. What you have achieved now, if you are gone, there must be somebody to safeguard it. So the sure way to safeguard and sustain our leadership achievement and impact is to mentor somebody who can keep our legacy. And we mentor, reason why we mentor is the path. Mentorship is the path to true legacy. And this one, I've said it again and again, true legacy comes through mentorship. Mentorship is the overall measure of success in leadership. Said success without a successor is failed leadership. So how do we mentor? One, it must be intentional. It is done on purpose. It has to be something structured. You cannot mentor somebody who does not know is being mentored. You cannot be a mentee to somebody who does not know he's mentoring you. Then the success, that is what we call following, but not mentorship. Okay. Mentorship requires matchmaking. There should be a match between the mentor and the mentee based on field of interest, passion, knowledge, skills, and expertise. If you are being mentored on something you're not interested in, that's not mentorship. So mentorship thrives in a mentorship culture, mentorship mindset, and mentorship environment. A mentor and mentee should endeavor to cultivate a mentorship culture and environment. Number 4, mentorship requires authenticity. I mentioned this. You have to be yourself to inspire people, share your successful stories. But to impact people, share your hidden stories, your failures, your struggles. That is not mentoring. So it has to be, you have to be authentic. Your mentee should know that there'll be times when you'll be weak, when you'll be struggling. So valuable lessons can be derived from both success and failure. So good mentorship means you be open and authentic. Mentorship is futuristic. Habit take time to develop. And as you mentor, you are doing it with a good visual of tomorrow, even as you maximize and enjoy what is there today. So you need to have that understanding of looking forward into the future as you do the mentorship. Mentorship is a process. It can be compared to a farm-based success system. What you sow today, you will reap in due course. Mentorship requires investment on systems, processes, and people. Don't expect to go into mentorship today and expect results today, there and there. There will be what we call low-hanging fruits, quick things that your mentee can grasp. But it takes time, so be patient. Let it mature. It is like an investment. You pump in money today with the hope that one day you'll get profits. It may not be immediately. Okay, methodology. Now here we have mentioned something out there that you need to invest on a system. It requires systems, processes, and people. Here 7 says it requires a methodology. You develop methods and systems to help in mentor matching, in the communication, and tools to manage and track the progress of your mentorship. That's including creating a mentorship agreements, learning plan, progress monitoring, and feedback surveys. I think we will touch on these ones later on. So let me just move on, we'll get some details on that. Mentorship is achieved outside the comfort zone. You know, success begins at the end of your comfort zone. So you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable, okay? Because nobody is comfortable in new areas. You need patience, persistence, consistency, and focus for you to win on this mentorship journey. Mentorship requires open-mindedness by both mentee and mentor. Remember, learning is a continuous process. I think you've read that one across the lessons. So even you, the mentor, as you ment somebody, you still pick lessons here and there. The process ignites two-way learning. So both of you need to, from time to time, to adjust your priorities, development of new habits, and you move in new ways. Then number 10, mentorship should be fun, embrace creativity, celebrate every small and big success, just enjoy it, okay? It is all life after all. It's not like you need to pause life and then come back to it. No, enjoy it, have fun while you're doing it. Mentorship demands consistent personal development, both the mentor and the mentee, because you need to both grow for you to get more value. So both a mentor and mentee should be perpetual learners, okay? And there is the power of self-development, which is part of this here, of this course. Now, there are 3 C's of mentorship. A mentor is an experienced and a trusted advisor, okay? Thing is blocking my view here. Okay. So mentor should share knowledge, experience, and provide a support system. That's mentorship. The 3 roles important to the success of the mentor-mentee relationship. 1 is consultant. At the first C. A mentor provides a specialized recommendations based on the wealth of industry knowledge. They share their own industry insights gained through the years of experience. And then mentors are often experienced in areas that mentees are not. And the insight from the mentor can save the mentee both time and resources in figuring out a problem. This frees up the mentee to focus on novel issues that are unique to their industry objective. Somebody said you cannot live long enough to make all the mistakes and learn from them. So what you need to do is learn from the mistakes that people made, okay? So when you have a mentor, let him be your consultant. Number 2, a mentor, the second C is counselor. So the mentor is a counselor, and as a counselor, you need to listen, to guide, but not to give away all the answers. No. As a counselor, a mentor provides guidance, not answers, but enables the mentee to figure out the right course of action individually. The choice between consultant and counselor depends on the mentee's learning style. Some mentees need hands-on experience to fully understand the concepts, while others prefer being given some theories. So by allowing the mentees to navigate the situation individually, they learn 2 things. They uncover the answers for themselves, and number 2, they get lifelong skills that will save them in the future on how to discover their own way. So be a counselor, guide that person, listen to his issues, and then guide them into discovering their own answers. So number 1 is consultant, number 2 is counselor. Our number 3, cheerleader. These are having very many names nowadays. You hear of flower girls who are cheering others. In school, we used to call them Skumatwende squad. But you know, cheerleaders, people who would encourage you and make you feel like you can do all things. So a mentor is a cheerleader. So in addition to providing that constructive feedback and advice, a mentor should also support and give enthusiasm. A mentor should help celebrate a mentee's success, no matter how big or how small. Sometimes somebody, let's say you are mentoring somebody and he has to apply for an interview. And he does apply for the interview, which is the stages. Now, the moment he is called, that means being shortlisted. Just celebrate it like he's gotten the job. And even when he goes to fail and comes back, you encourage him to say, now, actually, you are better off. Now you have known exactly where you failed. So you have learned something. You have been into an interview room or environment. So just celebrate it. And somebody will get that enthusiasm to move on. So you need to be a cheerleader. Okay? Hallelujah. Is somebody there? I said you be close to your mic because I need to hear you.
Yes, we are there.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Okay, something to note. A mentor should know when it is appropriate to switch the roles. Okay, these three roles that we said: 1, consultant; 2, counselor; 3, cheerleader. So whether the mentor is being either of those, we say consultant, counselor, or cheerleader, there should be transparency communication. This is very important for the success of the mentee relationship. That transparency and communication. Don't assume this person knows that I'm happy. No, we don't know. This person knows that I'm unhappy. Don't assume. Communicate and be transparent. Of course, say the truth in love. Being a mentor is more than telling someone what to do. It means sharing expertise with a consultant mindset, guiding the mentee along their journey without giving away answers, and being a cheerleader when the mentee needs it most. Mark you, your encouragement does more than training sometimes. Now, there are 4 phases of mentoring in this relationship. The successful mentoring relationship go through these 4 stages. Number 1, preparation. Number 2, negotiation. Number 3, enabling growth. Number 4, coming to closure. And this now gives the structure. In a structured relationship of mentoring, you need to have these sequential phases and build on each of them. Okay? And we shall dive right in them. And the first phase is preparation. So strategies for preparation, for preparing the relationship are: you need to initiate contact with your mentee. You exchange background information before you talk for the first time. Take time to get to know each other. As preparation, share past mentoring experiences, failures and successes, the things that influence you. Then talk about the learning and development goals. Set those goals. Okay. Determine the personal expectations of the relationship. What is your expectation as a mentor? What is your expectation as a mentee? Well, where do you expect to end? What will success be like? Okay, so you're setting these expectations. What do you need from your mentor? And you, the mentor, what do you need from your mentee? Define the deliverables and desired outcomes. Candidly share personal assumptions and limitations. Discuss personal and learning styles. So all that is in the preparations. And fortunately, there's one relationship that we began in the preparations, and it was very good, and it ended there. After the preparations, we said, now we shall have next session next week on this date. Never happened. We made a telephone call. Can we have it now? After what time? Let's see, because to next week it's me. And well, it never happened. So that mentorship relationship, what can you call it? Was it a mentorship relationship? Okay, first, number two, negotiate or negotiating or negotiations. So you need to negotiate on the following. How much time can be committed to the relationship in a regular basis? And be realistic. Do you meet 1 hour once a week or 3 hours once in 2 weeks? So write down those goals, analyze them to meet the SMART criteria. I think you know the SMART, that's specific, measurable, and achievable, then realistic and time bound. You need to set some timelines. Okay, agree on a discussion format, formal agendas, topic driven agendas, check-in conversations, etc. Then use a journal to help stay focused, monitor progress, and capture follow-up items. I have some structures on the things that how you can capture some of these things so that you can stay focused. Remember, you are busy, and mentoring will just be an added job that will require your time. So the more you are focused, the better. Establish any ground rules, confidentiality, boundaries, and hot topics, things that you should not delve into. So have those boundaries. Be flexible. Expectations and plans will change as your relationship progresses. Remember, when you begin mentoring, you have these expectations which will take shape as the mentorship goes on. So be flexible. Evaluate progress and milestones, goals, and do it as regular as possible, being guided by your first agreed, let me call it timetable. So learning styles are important. Identify and discuss successful learnings. Now, you as a mentor, you need to also try to learn your mentee quickly, because sometimes you might have agreed to use a certain method that you see is not as effective. So you adjust according to the way you see it. Because here we would want to say you are the consultant, you are the expert around here. So articulate criteria for success. What does success look like? That's negotiating. Now, first number three is enabling growth. And these are the strategies. Regularly check in, okay? Active listen and advice. Let it not be an ad hoc thing. You are mentoring somebody and you go for 3-4 months and then you come and you nastukia, and then thereafter you don't know when next you're meeting. No, regularly, do it regularly, okay? We are lucky nowadays, we even have Zoom here, we have mobile phones. So distance may not be much of a problem. If you can meet physically, good. If you cannot, organize Zoom, organize whatever formula you can use, but get in touch regularly. Ask for and give feedback so that the learning experience is satisfactory and the pace is comfortable. We say there should be openness. So ask for feedback and give feedback openly. Provide timely support, create appropriate challenges to facilitate learning. Sometimes you throw challenges so that they help somebody to navigate. Solicit feedback from other sources also. We said it calls for personal growth on both sides. So you as a mentor also need to solicit for feedback from other sources so that you can enrich your mentoring relationship, okay? Use the time together productively. Don't go into a mentorship session with a lot of stories and forget the main thing. Remember this quote, what they said, that the main thing is to keep the main thing. I repeat, the main thing is to keep the main thing there. Oh my God, I'm alone in this church.
The main
So you use the time together. Yes?
The main thing.
What does the whole quote say? The main thing is to keep the main thing, the main thing.
The main thing is to keep the main thing the main.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So you use that time together productively. Keep the main thing to be the main thing, okay? And that is your main thing now when you are meeting. Evaluate goals and deadlines throughout the process so that you know whether you are really getting to where you want or not. give constructive criticism and accept and reflect on it when you are given constructive criticism. Advise on what you know. Don't be afraid to admit what you don't. Find other sources. If you can't provide the guidance yourself, you can go and research. Talking of giving criticism and receiving criticism, I once learned this. When was that? 2004. When I was mentoring somebody, and then I had not really learned much about it. So one day I was giving back to our boss, and he said, this guy is training you, showing you around. He assumes when he says it once, when he shows you something once, you gotten it. The next thing, he really demands that you do it right and do it perfect. So he assumes you know. And that was good feedback, because from there, I adjusted, but I had to accept it first. Okay. So advise on what you know. Don't be afraid to say this one, let me find out. For now, I don't know what it is, but give me time, I'll research some more. Don't shy away from difficult conversations. No. Just deal with them head on. Remember, whatever is a difficult conversation between you and your mentor, between you and your mentee, when he is alone in the world, that situation will come. So he'll be in a very awkward position if you have not faced that difficult conversation with your mentee. That would have equipped the mentee for a similar conversation when he's there. Again, say, celebrate each and every success that you get on the way. And then the last phase in mentoring is coming to a close, or closing, ending the mentor-mentee relationship. So consider what you want your mentoring relationship to look like after the formal relationship concludes. Be sensitive to when the relationship should end. Don't drag on and on, because sometimes you grow somebody and the person, I've told you, when somebody grew to my level, now there could be some mentorship, but it cannot be that same mentorship. This one must close. I mean, it's like now you are training, you are schooling a kid to class 8. He finishes class 8, but you want to still keep him in primary. No, you can still have that relationship at the secondary level now, but that's a total different relationship. So when it should come to an end, please end it. Find a personal way to express your feelings about the experience, and then give and receive thanks for the far that you have gone together. Even if you are disappointed in the outcome, identify and express the positive benefits you gain as a result of being in the mentorship relationship. It may not always be rosy. Sometimes it may not work the way you wanted it to. Sometimes you can have difficulties of meetings until time comes when things have been overtaken by events, but you still have to conclude it. Please, it's good, just give feedback and receive feedback as it is. Where you failed in the process, learn. Where he or she failed, encourage them, and then teach them on that. Mention it to them so that when they get to another relationship, they will know this made me fail or made that relationship fail that time. Okay? So take time to consider what you learned and identify what you will do different in another mentorship session. And then celebrate, even if you achieved very little. Okay? Let me do my last day before I allow for one or two questions. And in that case, I just said, please just go to the chat and put whatever feedback you have there so that we can save on time. Now, as purpose-centered and vision-driven global leaders, we should focus on nurturing successes. So where you are, I want to imagine you have a mentor. Some of you have mentees. I want you to make those relationships very formal, official. And my call to you this evening is focus on nurturing successes. your greatest contribution to the future generation is that success. And we said mentorship is the measure of your success. For success without a successor is failed leadership. As generational leaders, we believe that we solidify and safeguard our leadership through mentorship. So we lead and influence through inspiration, empowerment, and mentorship. I will ask you to go to page 106, where you have the leadership challenge. And one is you identify a mentor, the other one is identify some mentees, and then identify the qualities you need to strengthen, to collaborate effectively with your mentors and your mentees. So that one, just have a relook and listen to this conversation, then just do something to make your journey better as you get your mentors and mentees. And I wish to end there. So I'm going to the chat now to see if there's somebody has written any comments. Okay, I see there is none there. May I open up for one verbal comment? If there is any. Silence means there's nothing. Okay, thank you very much for this short, brief session we've had with you. I know I was rushing through, and again, we appreciate that time is squeezed, but just do or listen to it, and whatever it is that you want clarification on, we are here, and we can help you structure some of those relationships so that they bear fruit. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Over to you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Kahindi. Okay, before we appreciate you, I can see on the chat there is a comment by Richard. Yes, let's see. Richard is saying, in terms of trust, where should you draw the line between the mentor and the mentee?
Richard and team leaders, trust is two-way. And I think trust needs no boundary unless it is misused. When you want to be trusted so that you can do evil, you see, like now, if I trust you and live in my house and you steal from me, then that's an abuse of trust. So where the relationship is, where you are not sure how much of this of trustworthy this person is, because sometimes you might have somebody that you have not really known properly, then we will talk of being that street smart of dealing with people. But when it comes to trust, genuine trust, then you need to have it both ways. You should trust your mentor, and so that you can be open to him. Tell him what your challenges are, your expectations are, and the mentee and the mentor should trust the mentee. So the two of you must uphold that. I don't know whether I'm really addressing your question properly, but that's what I would say.
There's another question from David Okello. At what point do you define the end of mentorship relationship?
Okay, you begin from you end from the beginning. We said when you are beginning, you need to set expectations. You need to have a vision or objectives. You say, what should the end look like? Success of this mentorship should be this and this. So when you have achieved that, then that calls for an end of that specific relationship, one. Two, when it is now proven impossible to achieve it, because the relationship is going south and there is no hope that this one will head where we want it to be, then you need to end that relationship. If you have tried all the other ways you can and things just don't work, you need to end it. If there's any other relationship, it must be begun with clearer guidance and understanding now. So both ways, whether you achieve them all that you set to do, and two, when you see like you cannot achieve either some or all of them because of circumstances that are prevailing, then it's time to end.
Good. I think because of time, we can pause there. Reverend Kahindi is also in our chat group, so you can still post any comment, any question on the chat, and you can also link with him directly so that you can be able to continue tapping from his wealth of experience in this area of of mentorship. And the good thing for him, he comes from both professional and also from the church. The church dimension. So there is that aspect of the balance. So let's appreciate him, and thank you so much, Reverend Kahindi, for sharing your experience and just coming on board. We really appreciate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, as we switch gear to lesson 15, because we need to go through these two lessons today, I just want to challenge all of us from the topic that we have learned, mentorship. Just what one thing have you learned that is new? One thing that you have learned about mentorship and succession, which is new to you. Just post it on the group as we continue, so that we'll be able to flash it out. What's this? Yeah, so just share on the chat. We'll highlight them. One thing that you have learned today about mentorship, maybe something that you didn't know, or something that you knew in a different perspective, but today it has come on a very different perspective. Just share on the chat, and then we'll look at it as we continue. But I think, as we can see, this is not just a program, it's really a culture. And maybe those are some of the things that will come from your reaction. So I'll pause at some point to look at the chat so that we can be able to reflect together on what we have been able to learn about mentorship. So keep the messages coming. I'll be able to pause at some point. But I want us to move on. And maybe as I start, please take time to look at the leadership challenge, and please undertake that leadership challenge on page 106. It's very, very important just to go through the leadership challenge and think about it as you fill the spaces there, and make a commitment on the areas that you need to improve. And as I switch to this, I just came across this, and I think I felt it's important just to mention it. It's not part of the notes, but it's something that is also important. I know Reverend Kahindi might have handled it within the processes, but just to summarize the 5 steps of leadership development, or we can talk about mentorship. So I do, you watch, as we keep talking. That's like more of the first stage when it comes to the mentorship steps or path. And then I do, you help. We keep talking. Then you do, I help. As we keep talking, then you do, I watch, and the talking continues. Then you do, someone else watches. Basically, by the time you reach there now, you have taken over. You have been mentored, and now you are starting to mentor another person. So this is a very simple way, but it's something that can really guide us as we walk together in this journey of mentorship. Now let's look at this other very important topic, How do we maintain the momentum? We have been in this program and probably even many other programs out there, but how do we keep the pace? How do we ensure that the momentum that we have built during these 3 months continues we continue to gain more momentum? That will come through a very sober discussion on this topic of personal growth and development. That is lesson 15. Robin Sharma puts it very well that the swiftest way to triple your success is to double your investment in personal development. If you check anybody who has been successful, either in business or in career, probably as a corporate leader, you will always realize that those people have very, very important downtime. And downtime, those are hidden moments. Just like the way this iceberg is showing. There is the success as an iceberg model where people see success when it's visible. But in really sense, underneath the iceberg, that's where the real work is done. And that's what I call the down moments. Those moments that nobody can see what is happening. It's like a seed in the soil. Nobody can tell what is happening. So the hard work, the persistence, the sacrifices, just like we have done during this period of learning through this platform. So the dedication and the good habits that we develop. So this is the downtime. And this downtime is what gives an indication of what happens on the outer side. So Robin Sharma has put it very well. We cannot triple or even double our success unless there is a conscious choice to be able to focus on issues of personal growth and development. So as we look at this, James Allen, as a man thinketh, this is what he says, that people are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves. And I think if you think about this, if we reflect on this, this is true within our environment. Sometimes people plan big things, but we don't really take the time to be able to work towards that projection. So as we plan to improve ourselves, as we plan to improve our circumstance, then that comes with the aspects of also planning to be able to improve ourselves as leader, just as we are doing tonight. So learn to work hard on yourself than you do on your job. I think this is a very interesting quote by Jim Rohn. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living, but if you work hard on yourself, you will make a fortune. Sometimes we are aligned. Sometimes we are in jobs that are aligned to our passion and to our gifting. But there are also times that we might find that we are not that aligned. So you need to be cautious and you need to be aware in terms of alignment. If you feel some years to come, and I like talking about when I'm 80, when I'm 80 years old, will I still be doing what I'm doing? Probably in terms of career, probably in terms of my profession. So I tend to project ahead, and then I come back and see if I'll be doing something different, or I feel I'll be more motivated to do something different at that late years. Then I think I need to start thinking about it and investing in it now. I normally call that digging with both hands, what we were calling ambidextrous leadership. So just think about that. The law of intentionality by John Maxwell, growth does not just happen. We have to be intentional about it. And that comes in very, very important, that everything begins from intention. And the better we are able to work on this, growth compounds, and then that brings acceleration in our outward appearance, or in our outward, what I call now the success. So without commitment to a planned personal growth, then any growth that occurs will be circumstantial rather than intentional. So those are very important words there. And we are saying personal growth is too important to be left to circumstance. We can grow through circumstance, or we can grow through intention. COVID-19 has made us to grow more, I think, through circumstance. But again, any meaningful growth or any meaningful success comes through intentional growth, where I am able to project my growth and then I start working on it in a proactive manner. So if there's no stretching, there's no growth and progress, and you must know yourself to grow yourself. We began from here, leaders, if you can recall. Level 1, it was all about personal growth and development. And we undertook a SWOT analysis. And again, even in this lesson, we'll still go back and take another personal SWOT analysis. Because unless I'm able to identify what I have and what I can do well, then it will be very hard for me to be able to know what I need to focus on. And this is a process that might take time, and it takes a lot of reflection. So we might need to think about this again and again and really focus on it. So growth occurs in a proactive growth culture and environment, and a plan will always get us started. But what really makes the difference is how disciplined and how consistent we are. Look at what we have gone through this few weeks. I'm sure if we have been able to grow, it's because of these aspects that we are mentioning today, the consistency and the discipline. And then there is another word that I've been mentioning always, resilience, and that keeps on as a key quality for any successful growth. So just to be able to bring this closer to how other people think about this topic, John Maxwell has written a lot on leadership. And in one of his statements, he says, if we are growing, we are always going to be outside our comfort zone. This is just to re-echo what Reverend Kahindi talked about when he was talking about mentorship. That still applies when we are talking about personal growth. It will always happen outside of our comfort zone. Today we are trading, maybe the time that we will be doing something else. But I think because of the reward, we can be able to give much and be able to gain from this experience. So strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Growth brings value, and that value is what brings success. So we can't become what we need to by remaining what we are. And I think I just want to put it this way, that the best strategy is to be intentional and to be able to take time to plan our growth, and then we act on it, and we be ready to stretch and maintain consistency. Stretching, that is what this program has done to all of us, that by the time we are coming to an end, the process would have really stretched us to another level. And we want to make sure that we maintain that momentum that has been built. Growth is our prophet. That's a very interesting statement, but very important. What I say is reflected in my growth. So growth will be telling where I'll be. Growth will be telling how my future will look like. So it's not so much of what I say, but it's what I say and which is consistent with what I do. Remember that our growth will be telling us where we shall be in maybe some few years to come based on our growth projection. So we grow towards opportunity by preparing for opportunities. We started by mentioning this scripture, Ecclesiastes 10:10, if the axe is dull and one does not sharpen the edge, then he must use more strength. What happens is that when we grow, we realize that with little effort, we're able to get more results. When we grow, with little effort, we're able to get more results. That's a very important principle. And that's in line with the triangle of success. The triangle of success, where we always mention that at the apex of the triangle of success, that's where we have the most successful people. And these are people that have grown, and they are sharpened themselves. They are specialists, probably in some particular area, and they use minimum effort to be able to get more results. The quote by Abraham Lincoln, that if I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend first 4 hours sharpening the axe. This is very critical, because if we adapt this in our growth, then our leadership will continue to be more interesting, more fruitful, more productive, because we are taking that time to be able to grow that person that really drives the leadership in us, and also the leadership in others. The seven habits of highly effective people by Steve Covey. The seventh habit: sharpen the saw. Sharpen the saw before you start cutting the tree. So remember this. So personal development, what are we talking about? We are saying this is a continuous lifelong process of discovering, developing, improving skills, abilities, and knowledge or potential to ensure maximum effectiveness, efficiency, and growth. So it's a lifelong process. Two, we are saying it starts from discovering, then you develop what you have discovered. It might be skills, it might be abilities, it might be an area of knowledge, it might be a gift that you have realized in you. And the goal is to be able to maximize our effectiveness, efficiency, and also growth. Again, we are saying personal growth and development is a transformational process, and it improves with improvements, or in which improvements are made in physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, social, and financial state. So it should be an all-rounded growth encompassing those particular areas that we have talked about there. So if I need to look at my growth from all those perspectives. Again, I think, as you can note, it has to be very intentional, and it has to be planned out. If I have to be able to take care of all those areas that we have highlighted. I'll still be able to highlight in more details. So the goal is to improve performance, to be able to optimize potential, and also in terms of resources. That's why we are saying effectiveness and also the issue of efficiency. So the process starts from discovery, then you develop, then you master, and then you are able to actualize. So this is more of a very simplified personal development process based on what I've highlighted up there. Again, there are some segments, the segments that I need to focus on in my personal growth. One is skill enhancement. Here I'm looking at development of personal skills, abilities, and also competencies. Then there's mental conditioning, strengthening our minds, having a positive outlook, resilience, and also the mindset that we have been talking about here. This is what really keeps us going, because that is what brings the inner drive. And then the third segment is habit creation, where you develop some behaviors or thoughts that are able now to maintain the consistency. So those are the segments. So the 5 areas of personal growth, this is what I mentioned about. It might be in a more flipped way. We are saying in terms of relationship, yourself, your spouse, your family, your friends, and also the spiritual angle comes here, relationship. Then health and wellness. There's the mental health, the emotional, self-esteem, confidence, the self-care, and also the physical health, exercise and diet. They come under the health and wellness. And then career, this is where professional development comes in. The network, the education, they fall under this. And then there are finance, and finally recreation, which focuses on the hobbies, events, and also this actually what brings that other aspect of fun that came up when we were discussing mentorship and succession. So the personal growth model is a very simple model here, where you look at the belief, that's the mindset, identify the motivation. So in this model, basically we are saying you grow from looking at the aspect of the belief. And the belief here, we're talking about the mindset. You can connect to the previous slide that I shared on the areas that I need to grow or to take care of. Again, there is a plan. Now the plan, I get into the actual work of goal setting and also the strategy, and then the action you execute, and you look at the results, the outcome, and you evaluate the feedback. Then you move on, review, redesign the strategies, and then the cycle continues. So these are just a model, one example of a model that you can adapt when you're looking at issues of personal growth and development. Let me give you a very simple example here. Like, for example, from the belief, you can have such kind of statements that I believe that reading is useful and can expand my knowledge. So that's a belief. Then what about the plan? I set a goal to finish reading a book every week. That's a plan. How about action? I place books and my Kindle reader next to my bed. That's an action-oriented task or statement. Then results, I read every night consecutively for 7 days. Then review, I track my reading habits every night with a habit tracking app. So you can look at this and compare the practical aspect of what I've shared in this personal growth model. Again, we have some goals among others that we can think about when it comes to issues of personal growth and development. So you need to defining and planning. That comes first. Then improving comes second, and that is the issue of self-awareness. There is the issue of self-knowledge. So these are the goals, the overall goals in terms of personal growth and development. So self-awareness, self-knowledge, improving skills and personality, building or renewing identity and self-esteem, developing strength or talents, improving career. There are also aspects of identifying or improving potential, building employability or human capital, depending on where you are. Then improving lifestyle or quality of life and time management. The other goal is to improve in the area of health, and then improving wealth or social status or value. 13, improving social relationships or emotional intelligence. And then finally, spiritual identity, development and recognition. So in terms of the goals, these are the areas that we focus on, but the same have been classified again in among the first slides that I talked about, the social, the physical, the spiritual, and also probably you can put the intellectual area of focus. So you can summarize them in that format. So the planning process, we start with self-analysis, self-reflection, and then honest appraisal of one's strength and weaknesses. And basically, this is more of a summarized way. Issues of personal growth and development. So self-analysis, from self-analysis, we're able to move on to the other second step, which is personal reflection. And this can come in when we are also focusing on self-analysis. Then from there, we move on to the appraisal. Yeah. So just we'll take some time just to go through this again, just to help us deepen the understanding on these particular areas. And as we conclude, I want just to mention the personal development, the cycle. Just want to help get to mute so that we can focus. So personal development planning process should involve one, establishing aims and objectives, what you want to achieve. It can be medium, short, or even long term. Then assessing the current realities. And this is where the awareness comes in. Then I'm able to pick the gaps. Then from there, you can now be able to identify the activities to be able to meet those needs or the gaps. Then that will lead you to a strategy or a plan. And that eventually will climax with how do you measure and assess your progress as you continue to grow as a leader Yeah, so measurement of, sorry for that. Yeah, so the issue of how do you measure our progress, that comes under the process. And then the final stage there is a feedback system. We need to know, are we changing? Because the proof of growth comes in the impact, in the change, in the probably in the productivity. Probably there are so many other elements that we can use to be able to measure. So the feedback system, so that it provides us with information on how we are improving. So this one is summarized in this cycle here. It's just the same, but now in a graphical in a graphical way. Then finally, you will plan through this simple model. It's a model that I'm sure most of us have come across, where we do the planning, plan ahead for change. We said we need to be proactive in this, and then execute the plan, taking small steps in controlled circumstances. Then we do the checking. We look at the study, at the results. We take time to study the results and see, are we achieving what we anticipated? And then take action to standardize or improve on the process. If there are areas we need to improve, then we need to look at that and work on them or make the necessary adjustments. Now, the personal development attributes, these are very important areas that, or some attributes that can help us in our growth and development. One of them is focus. Sometimes we spread too much, and that will consume our energy. I think the key here is to be able to look at how do we concentrate our energy in terms of focus. Robert Kiyosaki puts it this way, that follow one course until successful. So identify your areas of strength and focus, narrow down to one course, have a center of interest or focal point with a clear visual point. And we avoid this becoming a jack of all trade, and we try and become a specialist in a particular area. You know, if you look at the academic world or the academic field, the higher you go, the narrower you need to be. So as you go up, when you're getting the doctorate, at that particular time, even the research is so narrowed, but the impact is huge. So this is important every time you're thinking about personal growth and development, just to have a center of focus. Then positivity, this will keep us on track, and it establishes an environment of soberness and open-mindedness. Consistency, success is the sum total of small efforts repeated day in, day out. That's an important statement by Robert Collier. So it's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives, but what we do consistently. Yeah, consistency. What we do consistently, and that's what I said, growth is our profit. What we do consistently, eventually, will be able to usher us to our destiny. Then self-discipline, a lot of self-restraint, firmness of purpose, and also determination. Patience is all about constantly doing everything you can do, but we be patient when it comes to issues of results. And then the other attribute of success is persistence, the ability to maintain a will as constant as time in pursuit of that which captures our eyes. Leaders, allow me just to share this brief story about the principles of personal development based on Chinese bamboo tree. I don't know how many of us have heard about the story of Chinese bamboo tree. It's there in our manual. Page, check the page. Chinese bamboo tree. Yeah, on page 150. You can look at page 115, and you'll see the story of the Chinese bamboo.
115.
Yeah, page 115. And this is a very interesting story because a Chinese bamboo tree, the seed is so hard that when it's planted, it stays under the soil for 5 years. Those 5 years, the farmer has to continue watering the seed. The farmer has to continue believing something is happening. The farmer has to maintain a positive mindset. He has to do that consistently. He has to maintain focus because he has to water where the seed is. So self-discipline, and he has to be very patient. For 5 years, the farmer cannot see anything, but he has to continue doing the practice of watering the seed. And again, as you can see from the story, it says that after 5 years, the Chinese bamboo tree grows 80 feet. Actually, it talks about 80 to 90 feet. That is nearly 30 meters in just 6 weeks. And in some article, they say you can almost see the Chinese bamboo tree growing once it germinates. It grows so fast. But the reality is the 5 years that it took under the soil were critical. And those are the determinant. Because if the farmer had given up, then even the results we are seeing, that fast growth will not be manifested. This is a story that we can relate when it comes to personal growth and development. Sometimes what we are doing may not be visible. It may not be even probably rewarding to a certain level. It may not pay, if I can use that word, but when you get to the right time, when you germinate, then you start seeing the results, and the results can be amazing, just as we can see the Chinese bamboo tree. This is an experience I know most of us have gone through. Global leadership has gone through this. There are times we were under the soil, nobody knew about us, but we kept on pushing. We kept on being persistent. Even if you get 3 people, you train them, 1, 2 of them drops, you still remain with the 1. Those were the 5 years under the soil. But now we can see the Chinese bamboo tree starting to grow, even on its own. So that's the story of personal growth and development. Might take all these qualities, but when we germinate, we start harvesting in a big way. Finally, let's watch for traps of personal growth and development. The first trap is the external. It can be external, probably the environment. We need to be positioned in the right environment. There are some environment that can choke our growth. There are some environment that can accelerate our growth. So watch in terms of the external environment, but also in terms of the internal environment. So comfort and security traps growth and development. Yeah, in most cases, we don't grow in good times. We grow in challenging times. So think about this. Environment is important. So evaluate your environment. 2, the mindset. That's more of intrinsic. And we're saying the difference between successful and unsuccessful people is how they think about who they are and what they have, or even what they can be able to achieve. So the mindset, that's a more of intrinsic. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. That's Albert Einstein. So we need to think beyond the level at which the problem was created. How do we think differently so that we can be able to offer a solution? And I think this is what is happening in our current systems. Because if we just think or complain about the challenges, we are at the same level. But we want to upscale ourselves so that we don't just talk about the problems, but we talk about, yes, the problems were created at a different level. We can upgrade and think from a different level so that we can think solution. And then the other trap is self-defeating habits. It's our habits that predicts our success. Yeah, it's our habits that predicts our success, and every level in life demands new habits. So as we talk about personal growth tonight, then this will also come with some new habits that we'll choose to adopt. Yeah, so that we can be able to shift our growth to another level. And more importantly, we can be able to maintain the momentum that we have been able to build during this time. So look at the photo on the screen there, comfort zone. This is where we feel safe and in control. And then fear zone, lack of self-confidence. There's some element of excuses. And as we get into the learning zone, we start dealing with challenges and problems. We acquire new skill. And then at the growth zone, we find a purpose. We live our dreams. We set new goals. Then we are able to conquer objectives. So the growth zone or the growth zone demands a growth mindset. And this is our thinking as leaders, that as we continue to plan our growth, as we continue to focus on improving ourselves, then a growth mindset will be able to take us to that level. I conclude with this quote. Remember this quote, leaders? You can only have two things in life: reasons and results. But reasons don't count. There are many reasons why we may not be able to get such a kind of environment to grow. But again, that may not really count. What counts is the results. Think about the iceberg model. The success that we see out there is an investment down here. So as we continue to grow in ourselves, as we continue to invest in ourselves, let's think about that intentional plan that will be able to take us to the next level of our growth. And the measure of personal growth will always be in who we are becoming. So I hope that this is a challenge, just to reflect through the whole program and be able to make some resolutions in terms of how do we move on? How do we proceed from where we are now? Yes, we have been able to walk together the journey, been able to build the momentum, but how do we maintain this momentum? Which kind of a system do we need to establish so that this the efforts, the resources that we have invested in, we are able to maintain the momentum and the benefits. And I'll usher you to the leadership challenge on page 118. Page 118. Yeah, so here again, we'll undertake another SWOT analysis. Yeah, so you start with part one, personal analysis, and the personal analysis will be guided by the SWOT analysis. Look at, if the manual is not very clear, I can share this on the chart. So, and that will be part one. Part two is setting goals. So setting goals, what do I want to learn? What do I have to do? What support and resources will I need? How will I measure success? And target date for review. These are very important metrics which you can apply for yourself and also maybe for your organization. And then part three, personal objectives. So you can set short-term goals, maybe in the next 12 months. Maybe it might be a course that you want to undertake. It might be some workshops that you want to attend. So look at the short term, then medium term goals, 2 to 3 years. Maybe it can be a project. It can be a higher level of learning. Maybe you want to pursue a long course. So that is the medium term, and then the long term. Work towards how you operationalize your vision. So just think about this, those three parts, and take some time, invest some time so that we can be able to convert what we have learned into practice. Otherwise, I want to pause there, and I hope that there are few takeaways that we can be able to exchange on the chat as we close. Today, we may not be able to engage on the group projects, but I hope as a group we are still proceeding. But as we get to that, let's share maybe just what one takeaway. I'll look at the chat from the previous session. Let me see just a few from the chat. Richard, you are saying mentorship is a journey. It's an investment, should be intentional. It's what you have learned today. Let me see what else. Okay. In terms of trust, I have learned negotiate my time in mentorship, having a journal. That's Richard. Mariam need to make it official. That's the important with faces. It's a process and should be intentional. Yeah. Frank, leadership without a successor is failed leadership. Yeah, very true. Richard, I've read that. Yeah. I think these are some of the things that we have shared. So from the personal growth and development, I'm sure they also take away. This one I'll not ask you to mention them out, but just jot them down. Something that maybe also committing that I want to run with this from this class in terms of my own personal growth. What are you running with from today's session? Otherwise, I want us to pause there for tonight. But in case there is any reaction, maybe someone may want to just make a quick reaction. I can allow maybe 2 or 3 comments as we conclude. Any reaction? Any reaction? Maybe someone may want to unmute and just make a comment or a reaction, if there is any, in the next few seconds, 2 or 3 minutes as we close. Okay, are we good leaders? You can give me a thumbs up just to know we are flowing together. Yeah. Okay, so Eunice, you are saying a great lesson on mentorship. Thank you so much, Eunice. Okay, so we'll pause there for tonight. But let's continue engaging. Let's continue engaging on the chat. This Saturday we'll not have class. That's why we incorporated all the calls tonight, because we'll be out there for a retreat and graduation with cohort 7, 8, 9, and 10. And also we have other participants from other cohorts who will be joining us. So we'll be having that event. And I just want to encourage all of us, let's continue focusing on the project, and please keep on sharing with us your progress so that we can continue providing you with more input. We don't have a lot of time because next week now we'll handle lesson 16, and we'll have a lot more time now to be able to focus on the project. Actually, in the next week, the attention will be mostly on the projects. Because from there we'll have just another 1 week before we conclude. So if we can take this time now just to focus more and keep on sharing your input with us, then we'll be able to give you some more input. What we realize that the project will require a lot of reading. Yeah, it will require a lot of reading because we require those references. So that will call for us to be able to do quite intense reading. And please look at a benchmark. If you can benchmark your case with another case or with another country, benchmarking are very good. So if you are doing a project that you can be able to benchmark, look at a case there that you can be able to study and look at success stories or success factors that can inform your project as you work on your project proposal. I think there are just 2 comments. Work on yourself. You earn a fortune, work on your job, and earn a living. That's a powerful. That's Richard. Mariam, personal development is a continuous lifelong process. What will I do, or what will I be doing at 80 years old? It's a very important question. When I asked myself that question, so many things arose in me, and I started pursuing them. So tonight, maybe that's one question that we can all ask ourselves. If God blesses us to be 80, 90, 100 years, what shall we be doing at that age? And if you are not aligned now, please start walking along that journey. Start activating that part and start giving it focus, so that by the time you are that age, you don't have a djembe that is blunt, that cannot cut anything. We need to start sharpening it as early as we can. Remember the Chinese bamboo tree? Read about it, think about it, and I'm sure we'll be able to gain more insight. Otherwise, thank you so much, leaders, for your patience, and we're grateful as we continue to engage. If there is no comment, any more comment, we'll just unmute and be able to share the words of grace. Unless Reverend Kahindi, I've forgotten something.
No, you haven't forgotten anything. Maybe I just want to understand this. I believe the leaders here will be coming on Saturday. I believe they are registered and they are ready.
Some of us are not available. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. We shall send you some photos, some mouth-watering photos on what you will miss.
We'll appreciate a lot.
Yeah, we'll send you videos of the activity that will be there. But I know we cannot be able to send you 5% of what we shall experience. So for those of you who can be available, please do. It is an experience, and what you're able to learn in those few hours can be life-changing. So I encourage you a lot. Those of you who will make it there, I pray God that we'll meet and learn, have time, have fun, and network there. Thank you very much, Chairman. I think with that we can bring it to a close.
Thank you so much, Reverend. So let's unmute and share the words of grace together. And may the grace of Lord Jesus Christ,
Lord Jesus Christ,
and the love of God,
God,
fellowship of the Holy Spirit,
fellowship of the Holy Spirit,
now and
with us now and
forevermore.
forevermore.
Amen.
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 Blessed
Well,
night.
blessed night, everyone, too.
Yes.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
I look to me. Wow.